Night is presented by Power Business Technology, your locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Contact them at 844-POWER-BZ or visit them at powercopiers.com. Here's your host, Scott Marsh, alongside the high flyer, Henry Turner.
And a very pleasant good evening to you. Welcome inside the Golden One Center. It's game night. Sacktown Sports, 1140. Scott Marsh along with the high flyer, Henry Turner. Kings versus Charlotte tonight. And the Kings desperately looking to get a win at home against the Hornets, a team that got beat by 53 Saturday night at Portland. It was the biggest win in Trailblazer history up there at the Moda Center. And, of course, for the Kings, we know what happened on Friday night. It was not a good start to the second half of this season. They got dismantled by the Golden State Warriors, a team that's playing very well, by the way, with Jimmy Buckets now. Kings losing 132 to 106. And high flyer, we've had a weekend. We've had a chance to kind of get away from it all. We're back. It's a new week, and hopefully it's a new Kings team tonight.
You know, Scooter, just when I thought I knew what was going on with this team and I had some type of inkling of how we were headed and how we were going to get there, then the Warrior game hit.
Woo!
And definitely puts my mind in a whirlwind.
Yeah.
Right now, I can't say nothing definite about this team to where I can say, yes, this is what's going to happen. This is what they're going to do. This is how they're going to try to obtain it. And, you know, and I haven't felt this way about a basketball team in a long time.
Whew, that's heavy right there. And obviously high expectations coming out of the break, and you're hoping with everybody having a chance to get away, coming back, energized. And, you know, let's be honest, they're playing a Golden State team that's rolling right now, no doubt about it. But that performance wasn't up to par on Friday night.
You know, okay, I'll give it 60-40.
Okay.
Golden State beating the Sacramento Kings. But that 40% for the Kings, they gave it to Golden State.
Yeah.
When you turn the basketball over at such a high rate against a team like that, there's no way you're going to win.
Yep.
Golden State had 30 points on turnovers alone. It's not going to happen. Even if you shoot the basketball great and have a great offensive night, if you give up 30 points off of turnovers, those are easy baskets. Scott.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to win.
No, you're never going to win in that scenario. And the Kings, to your point, had 21 turnovers on the night.
24.
I'm looking at the box score right now.
I think they updated it.
Okay. Hey,
right.
It was in the 20s.
Yeah.
I am not going to argue with you on that.
Too high.
It was too many for sure. Only 16 assists. So, definitely not the way to go on that. And the way the Warriors got out and ran on them at one point, it was like 30-0 in terms of points off turnovers. And fast break points were ridiculous too.
Yeah, I mean, and all of that was a test to turning the basketball over.
Yeah.
And I would say out of the 24 turnovers, Scott, I would say 10 were forced.
Yep.
A good 14 turnovers were unforced turnovers that led to easy baskets.
No doubt about it. And it forced Doug Christie to have a meeting with his starters after the game. I was listening to the post-game show with you and Jay Ross, and I know you're waiting to get Doug on. He didn't come out, and eventually players did after you guys had already wrapped up. And, you know, it's interesting. I mean, it's one game. Obviously, when you play the Warriors, you're at home. Anticipation after the break, you're looking to get things started. It felt more than one loss, especially the way it went down. What about that meeting with the starters right after the game? What'd you make of that?
Well, Scott, the thing is that you have to look at exactly where this team is. You know, we talk about building up equity. The Kings don't have that. We talk about coming out after All-Star break where you didn't had so-called a little bit of time of a break. You had so-called couple of, hours to practice, and you would have thought you would have saw a much more well-rounded game.
Yep.
And when your team come out and play like that, that's why it was so alarming to where Doug had to take his starting five and say, hey, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Because, losing a basketball game isn't the end of the world.
No.
It's how you lose it.
Yeah.
It's how you go out there and compete. It's how you execute. All of those things were in question against the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, no question. It was bigger than just the loss itself. And it begs the question tonight, what's going to happen? There was rumors that Keon Ellis was wearing the black jersey in the walkthrough, which would indicate he might be starting tonight. It was the first question asked of Doug Christie tonight, what the starting five might look like. And his answer was, you'll have to wait and see.
Okay, and here's my question to you, and you can roll this out right here, now.
Yeah.
Is that, okay, let's say if Keon is in the starting lineup, where is Keon? Is he at the 1, is he at the 2, or is he at the 3?
That's right. Who's he going to start for?
Right. Is he at the 4?
Yeah.
Because let's say, for example, if you wanted to start Keon at the 2, you still want Zach LaVine and Debo on the floor. That means Keegan Murray got to go to the bench to start with Sabonis.
Yeah.
So, he could be anywhere. Now it's all about, okay, who's going to come off the bench?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Would you tinker with the lineup based on what you saw Friday night?
On what I saw Friday night?
Yeah.
You know what? I would put a couple of our mascots in the game.
Royale is coming back for a second night, I'm told.
I'm not mad at Doug for trying any and everything.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this is a win league.
Yes, it is.
So if the guys that are quote unquote your starters, the quote unquote guys that's supposed to take you to the promised land, if they aren't getting the job done, I'm trying everybody that I have on my roster.
Yep.
And if they ain't getting it done, I'm going down to the G League. I'm going to get some guys and I'm going to try them. So, as far as Doug mixing it up and trying stuff different, man, I have no problem with that.
We'll find out. He didn't commit one way or the other. The way he answered the question, it felt like he is going to.
But what I'm saying, tonight, if he does, I have no problem with that. We're not winning.
I hear you 100%. But let me ask you this in the equation. Obviously, they lost to the Pelicans before the break started. They had won a couple before that.
Right.
It is one game, okay? It is Golden State. That hurts losing Golden State at home. We all understand that. But could you look at it and say, perhaps an overreaction, just one game?
No, because it's how they lost the game, Scott.
Yep.
All of those turnovers were totally unacceptable. The body language was totally unacceptable. The energy was totally unacceptable.
Yeah.
Like I said, losing a basketball game isn't the end of the world. We got 82 of them. You're going to lose some games.
Yep.
But it's the way and the manner and the fashion that you go out and lose. Doug came out and talked to us plenty after losses.
Yeah.
But that loss right there had a little extra on it.
Yeah.
So, some things have to be addressed if you want to try to move forward in the positive direction.
Yeah, well, we'll find out. They get a chance to tonight against the Charlotte team that we know is struggling mightily coming into this game. They have all sorts of injuries. We'll get you caught up on that later on in our Ginger and Hammer injury report. They're 14th in the Eastern Conference, 14-41, only a better record than the Washington Wizards. Everything's setting up for the Kings tonight, but as we know, that doesn't necessarily mean anything either. The Kings, again, 21 turnovers. They did have 26 assists in that game. The Warriors in that game, 40 assists on Friday night.
Wow. For one, in order to get assists, Scott, you got to have guys knocking some shots down.
Yeah.
But what happened is, and the reason why Golden State had so many assists and had such a high number, they were easy buckets.
Yeah.
When Kings turn the basketball over, you're in transition.
Yep.
Transition buckets are easier buckets than when you have to come and play in a half-court set. And, by the way, they were definitely clicking on all cylinders in that half-court set also.
Yeah.
So, but when you start giving them easy transition buckets, that just compounds it.
No doubt about it. And the Kings certainly did do that. There's no question about that. The way the Kings are constructed right now, and even if Doug makes some adjustments to it, and now we did see Markelle Fultz. He had that vicious dunk, which was fun to see.
Nice.
He looks healthy out there. I don't know if he's a part of the puzzle maybe to help with the turnovers, but the way the Kings are constructed right now, are they capable of getting the turnovers in check? I mean, just looking at the individuals and how they're made up right now, it's been tough since the trade.
I think so, because if you listen to what, Coach Christie said, he said, yes, teams are trying to take things away offensively for the Sacramento Kings. And what a lot of the Kings players are guilty of, is that they're speeding up.
Right.
They're trying to go faster instead of just being methodical at what they do. And when you speed up, turnovers speed up. Turnovers go up. So, that's just a part of basketball IQ to where you really have to figure out how you're going to be able to switch up on the fly. And, can you stop guys from turning the basketball over? Yes, you can. But guys are going to really have to, a lot of this read and react that they do.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of guys aren't reading and reacting in the right way.
Yeah.
So it ends up in a turnover.
Yeah.
So you might have to slow things down, or even try to make things even more simpler and say, hey, this is exactly what you do, instead of giving guys a choice of going from A, B to C.
And I know one thing you've been a proponent of, we talked about it on Friday, was getting some set plays for Zach LaVine, getting him comfortable. Zach had 5 turnovers in that game on Friday night, was just 2 of 7 from distance. So part of the issue is really getting Zach totally acclimated here in Sacramento.
I think a lot of it is about getting Zach acclimated back up to the Zach LaVine that we want to see out there on the floor. Zach is playing okay, but he's not playing up to the potential that we thought he could.
Mm-hmm.
We need him to play better. And at some particular point, you got to put Zach in a familiar situation.
Yeah.
And that's why I say maybe a couple of set plays for Zach. I also feel like we are really shooting ourselves in the foot by not utilizing the big fella Valanciunas down low in that second unit.
Yeah. Obviously, with Golden State, they don't play a big lineup, so that might have been it. Part of a matchup. He played 9 minutes.
But see, that's
Friday night.
That's where you punish them.
Yeah, you can make the matchup against you.
That's where you punish them, because I honestly think Valanciunas is good enough. This guy is not Alex Len.
Yep.
All right, by no stretch of the means. Valanciunas is good enough to where if you think you're going to guard him with a 6'8", 6'9" guy, throw him the ball a couple of times down low, and let's see if he's sealed and get to the basket.
Yeah, no, exactly. All right, one other thing we'll clean up from Friday night. It was Markelle Fultz's introduction to Sacramento. He had a nice 9.5 minutes, was 4 or 5 from the floor, was active. He showed that he had some lift, and he looked like he's a guy who could help contribute here.
Right. I mean, he showed he had some pop and some snap.
Yeah.
Anybody that comes here and shows that they have a motor has a chance to play for this team, because, that's a part of the game to where I think the Kings are really missing is some guys that comes in and have some raw energy.
No doubt. All right, well, there is some intrigue tonight. Will Keon Ellis be starting for the Kings? We'll let you know as soon as we know, but there is an indication he might. And then who does he start for? That'll be as interesting as Keon getting into the starting lineup, if indeed that does happen. Game night is underway from the Golden One Center. It's the Kings and the Hornets tonight. Sacramento ending this quick 2-game homestand. They'll go back out on the road, Utah on Wednesday before flying to Houston on Saturday. Game night is always brought to you by our friends at Gingery Hammer and Associates. Remember, if you ever had an injury, just call Gingery. More of Game Night right here. Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Domantas Sabonis plays here.
He finds Sabonis, put the frosting on the cake, put the cherry on the sundae. Sabonis with a 2-hand flush makes it 114-106.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
I joined the military for my kid and his mom. I miss my son a lot. One of the things with the military is tobacco, but I saw a lot of people try to deal with mental issues. Everyone's vaping constantly. After my first hit of a vape, I was hooked like that. Once I got back home from my deployment, I caught my son trying to hit my vape. That was it. I had to quit.
Californians are beating big tobacco.
You can too. For free support, text Kick Nicotine to 66819 today.
What if your limited inventory had unlimited potential? What if your biggest risk was not taking one? What if you could make every move matter? Bank of America's business solutions can help bring your biggest what ifs within reach. Find out how our digital tools, cutting edge insights, and trusted expertise can work for your business. What would you like the power to do? Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything? Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
T-Mobile 5G home internet keeps getting better. Get our fastest connection loaded with benefits. Get T-Mobile's best home internet starting at $55 a month with auto pay and any voice line. Plus, price lock. We won't raise your rate on internet. Check availability at T-Mobile.com/home internet.
Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Guarantees regular monthly rate plan price of fixed wireless 5G internet data with qualifying service. After $15 bill credit with postpaid voice line plus $5 a month without auto pay with debit or bank account. Regulatory fees included for qualifying accounts. $35 connection charge applies. Speeds vary due to factors affecting cellular networks.
Welcome back into game night right here, Sacktown Sports, 1140. Kings take on the Hornets. Charlotte's lone appearance in our capital city. We're going to have Sam Farber on, the radio voice of the Hornets, in our next segment. We'll get caught up on Charlotte and what's going on there. We'll break down Kings, talk a little Warriors here upcoming. But first, we got to let you know about a new sponsor to game night, Howard's Gumbo. It's a family-owned gumbo shop right here in Sacramento. I can't wait to get out there, Henry. I know you go out there often, and you love their gumbo.
Hey, that's my spot, man. I'm telling you, if you're in the fried fish, fried catfish, red snapper, tilapia, they have it all. They have some of the great sides. They got the red beans and rice. They got the Cajun rice. And the number one thing that they have, Roller Scott, is the gumbo. The gumbo is done right. They even have gumbo fries for you. So if you like soul food the way I like soul food, that's the place to be.
All right. You got to take me over there sometime. I got to meet the Howards, Larry and the family. Open Thursday through Sunday, Thursday and Friday, 11 to 8, Saturday and Sunday, 2 to 8, located 2120 Marconi Avenue right here in Sacramento. All right. Let's talk a little Warriors. We have to. We saw them. We saw Jimmy Butler. We know what they're doing right now. I mean, they've won 5 of 6 since making that trade. They looked unbeatable on Friday night. They looked unbeatable yesterday against the Mavs. And we know the Mavs are a depleted team as well. But the Warriors just ran right through them. After seeing them, have you changed your assessment of what kind of run they might be able to make here now?
Of championship? No. I will say that they have been rejuvenated. You know, Jimmy Buckets has breathed some life into their offense that was on life support.
Yeah,
I would definitely say that. But I think it was the others that did us in. You know, it was the Buddy Hills. It was the what's the young big man's name that came off the set?
Quentin Post played great.
Yeah, Quentin Post played well.
Yeah.
Santos played well. Pajimski gave us the business.
Yeah.
You know, it was the others that really did the thing. Steph only had 20 points. And, for Steph Curry, that's kind of on the low side for him.
Yeah, you can live with that.
Right. Jimmy Buckets had a decent game.
Yeah.
Draymond played well.
Yeah.
But it was the others that really stepped up and got the job done.
Yeah, Moody had 22. Pajimski had 21.
Moody is the one that just really lit us up.
Yeah.
It seemed like every time that we would try to blitz Steph and get him get off the ball, Moody was there to knock a shot down. I mean, just put the dagger in the King's heart.
No doubt. They should get Kuminga back sometime in March. The Warriors, they may not have great height. They've got pretty good depth now.
The Warriors have guys who can score.
Yeah.
I said that from the very beginning. when we played them in preseason and watched that team and watched how they moved the ball and how they scored, I was like, my God, they're not the biggest guys, but every last single guy on that bench can score the basketball. So if it's a night to where they got it going offensively, they're going to get some teams some problems.
Yeah, no doubt. Right now, they are rolling. They're currently ahead of the Kings in the standings with that win on Friday, coupled with the win on Sunday. The Warriors are now 3 games above 500. They're 30-27. You've got the Timberwolves and the Mavs both 31-27. Kings 28-28. The Suns at 27-30. Spurs 24-31. But with Wemby out for the year, you got to think they're not going to be able to hold that position or move up further. I think you still have to consider the Trailblazers as an outsider to looking in, 24-33. They're 5 games back of the Kings in the loss column. Not impossible to catch Sacramento, but it would be tough. So right now the Kings, it feels like, they're going to be somewhere between 10 and possibly 7 here. Feels like it.
You got to start winning some games if you want to look at that 7. You have to start winning games because it's so tight right now, Scott. Okay, we're in 10 right now, right?
Yeah.
I think if you don't start winning games, it's easier for you to slide down to 12 than it is for you to go up to 7.
Yeah, I mean, 1 game back in the loss column. They're really only 3 games back at the Clippers in the loss column. 3 games back altogether. The Clips are 31-25. So that, that's not impossible. You'd have to get past 4 teams to do it. That's probably the tougher spot.
Right. It's not impossible for them to do it.
Yeah.
But, when you lose games like you did against New Orleans or lose games like you did against Golden State, and, we haven't played this one tonight. It's yet to be seen.
Yeah.
But this will be one of those games where you're looking at like, okay, you can make it one step closer. Same thing against the Golden State game.
Yeah.
We played them so well and just straight beat them down in their arena. We kind of figured like, okay, we'll be able to get them in G1 and make it that one step closer. Can you imagine where this team would be just if they would have won the New Orleans game and got the Warriors game?
Yeah,
we'd probably be sitting right 8th right about now.
Yeah, a lot of what ifs.
8th or 9th, but very, very close to that 7th spot.
No doubt. A lot of what ifs and shoulda, woulda, coulda, and it doesn't really matter. The Kings got to deal with what they are and where they're at now. And the reality of it is, if you look at it in terms of the metrics and everything on paper, the Kings, quote unquote, have the 2nd toughest schedule remaining in the NBA.
Wow. And you got to deal with that.
Right.
Okay.
On top of all that.
Yes. And you got to deal with that. So at the end of the day, you really have to find yourself. You really have to get your groove and your mojo back.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be number 1, Scott. You got to start feeling good again.
Right.
We talked about this for this basketball team the whole year. Have to get these guys to start feeling good about themselves and start feeling good about playing basketball, because I tell you what, that Golden State Warrior game, nothing felt good.
No, it was a punch in the gut. It was
more than a punch in the gut. It was in the gut, the mouth, the back of the head, the eye, the nose, wherever you could get punched at. It felt like all of that against Golden State.
It was a good old-fashioned beatdown.
Take out to the back of the barn, ass whipping.
Yep, it was. It definitely was. All right, let's go around the league. We'll move it up a little bit because we do have Sam Farber coming on from the Hornets in our next segment. The news around the league, Joel Embiid is now getting imaging on his knee. And it looks like with the Sixers pretty much out of the race in the East that they're going to shut him down. That's what it feels like where it's going.
That hurts.
Yeah, it does.
That really hurts. And I'll tell you what, Scott, looking at Joel and Joel's history, I'm pretty sure Philly got to be thinking long-term now, saying, how many more years can we get out of him?
Yeah.
Because the last 2 years, you haven't been able to sustain and play the whole time. So
Right. Doesn't it beg the question, though? I mean, if they're doing this now, why didn't they do this earlier? Why was this not done at the beginning of the year? If this is what truly is going to be the outcome.
You damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because he's a guy that I'm pretty sure wanted to play, wanted to be out there. I mean, he understands that his clock is ticking.
Yep.
And he understands that, his window of opportunity isn't a big one.
Yeah.
So, he wanted to get out there and give it a shot, but it just didn't work.
No, it didn't work. And obviously, from a win-loss standpoint, the whole move to get Paul George and to have the big 3 I mean, I think it's fair to say that Philly's been the most disappointing team in the league. I mean, look at either conference right now. The Sixers are 20-36. They're 12th place in the Eastern Conference.
And then, you start thinking about, okay, do you move on from MB? Or what could you get for him?
Yeah.
Because at this particular point, not just you, but everybody knows this dude's health problems.
Yeah.
Is he going to be able to even give somebody something to where you can get some value back for?
Yeah. And Maxi's the franchise right now player for that team.
Right. Maxi is the guy. Paul George is sitting in the number 2 seat, which isn't a bad spot for it if you got a Paul George. Yeah. But, you got to really look at, okay, how much is the big fella going to be able to give you, because he has been the head of the snake.
No doubt. All right, the other news, and it's unfortunate just hearing that Greg Popovich not expected to come back this year. So the Spurs already dealing with the news of Wembanyama out for the remainder of the year, blood clot, hoping he comes back next year, fully expected to, but you always get concerned when you're talking about something that serious. And then Popovich, who was hoping to maybe come back this season, now not expected to. His future in terms of when or if he may come back in doubt.
I was about to say, that's probably a bigger question is he going to come back at all?
Yeah.
Because think about this, as much as we love this game, and I'm pretty sure Popovich is thinking the exact same way. We love this game. We love this game to death, but your health is much more important than this game of basketball, and especially when you have done everything that you possibly could as a Popovich.
No doubt. All right, we'll take the break. When we come back, we'll break down the Hornets, the opponent for tonight's contest. Sam Farber, my good friend, and also the voice of the Charlotte Hornets, will join us next. This is Game Night right here. Sacktown Sports, 1140.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Meanwhile at Xfinity. Okay, huddle up. Do you realize how many fans stream basketball? It's madness.
But real fans stream with Xfinity Internet.
Totally. We've engineered the fastest connection.
With reduced buffering and low lag.
'Cause making streaming better is what we do!
Yeah!
Yeah!
Can we let go now? It's really not a huddle with two people.
Switch to Xfinity Internet and stream live sports from the best seat in the house. Bring on the good stuff. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Actual speed vary. Not guaranteed.
Hi. I'm Justin Gingery from the law firm of Gingery, Hammer & Associates. When you have been injured by the fault of another, you will want advice you can trust. If you know an attorney you can trust, I hope you call that person. But if you don't, please call me. I promise I will be the attorney you can trust, along with my entire team. I have been helping accident survivors recover compensation for their injuries for 25 years, and we can help you. There is no charge for calling. If you have an injury, just call Gingery.
Things are just better when you switch to Cricket. The sun shines a little brighter. Happy music starts randomly playing. Best of all, you can get iPhone 13 for just $29.99. With the ultra bright Super Retina display and up to 19 hours of video playback, all on Cricket's super fast 5G network. See, isn't that better? Smile, you're on Cricket.
Requires new account imported on $60 plan. First service charge taxed with sale. $25 activation fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. See store for details.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-292-7788. 800-292-7788.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140.
Welcome back to the game night right here, Sacktown Sports 1140. Scott Marshall on with the high flyer, Henry Turner. We'll take you until 6:30 tonight. Get you ready for Kings Live pregame. Kings in Charlotte, 7 o'clock tip from the G1C. If you're coming on out, beautiful night outside. Take in some Doko and get ready for this one as the Kings try to even out the home series before heading out on the road. They'll have the Jazz on Wednesday. We'll get you to the Gingery and Hammer injury report next segment, but right now, joined by my good friend and the voice of the Charlotte Hornets, Sam Farber. And Sam, it's always great to have you here in Sacramento. It's good to see you. I remember our days back in the Big West when you were traveling, doing the games. I mean, you were working with ESPN at the time and having a lot of fun there. And now you've settled in Charlotte, and I know you really have made a home and really like it there.
We love it. I do get nostalgic when I make these trips and see you. I'm like, is it time to do UC Davis, Long Beach State?
That's right.
Is that what Aggies and 49ers? Is that coming at me? But no, it's been a dream come true for me to be in the Queen City, and Charlotte's just a wonderful place, wonderful organization, much like Sacramento, a fan base deserving of a winner. Hopefully we're getting it soon. Sadly, injuries have kind of sideline those hopes for another season, not for certain, but for likely. But we'll see what we get on hand here tonight at the Golden One Center, where we've seen some great matchups between these two teams.
Yeah, we've had some fun games for sure. Not so much if you're a Kings fan necessarily, because you guys have come in and beaten us when we felt like we certainly should have won. Obviously, Saturday night, it was tough sledding up in Portland, 53-point blowout. It was the Trailblazers' biggest win in franchise history. But it's been a roller coaster because you played the makeup game in L.A. on Wednesday prior. All you do is go into L.A. and beat Luka and LeBron, who might be playing as good as any team in the league right now.
Yeah, it's really, a lesson in what life is really like in the NBA, that on any given night, any team can beat any other team. And if you don't have your A game or your B game or your C game, you might put your name in a record book that you don't want to have there. Charlotte played not only very well against the Lakers to get that win, but followed up the next night on one of the most difficult back-to-backs that is even permitted in the NBA, going L.A. to Denver, losing an hour of sleep. It was nuts. Charlotte had a bunch of guys out, still took it all the way to the wire against Nikola Jokic and Denver. So we were thinking, all right, this team's turning the corner. It's coming out strong from the All-Star break, and then we get a clunker. So, it does happen. It happens to every team short of Steph Curry and the 73-win Warriors or Michael Jordan and the 73-win Bulls. Everybody else has a night like that. Whether it's by 20 or 50 is a little bit different, but it happens.
No, want to ask you about this. Some of your newcomers want to ask you, how are you guys utilizing the big fella Nurkic right now? Because I know he's a big part of what you do. Are y'all utilizing him on the inside, the outside? How is that going?
Well, he is given a new element to the center position. Just a little bit of backstory here. He came over on the back end of what ended up being the rescinded trade of Mark Williams. So Mark Williams was supposed to go to the Lakers, been well publicized. They backed out of the deal. They rescinded it. Charlotte ecstatic to have Mark back because of the talent that he presents. It's not going to play tonight, but this is a guy who could easily average 20 points, 12 rebounds per game in the years to come. So, he gets his health right, and this team could really take off with him. But they got a Godfather offer for him. They decided to take it, saw a giant hole at center, and saw an opportunity to pick up a first-round pick from Phoenix to grab Yusuf Nurkic. So now fast forward here to where we are today. The trade's rescinded, and all of a sudden Charlotte, which for years was looking for a center, now might have too many, if there is such a thing. So this center position now for Charlotte, looking ahead to even next year, is the strongest I've ever seen it for the Hornets. That could be a big advantage. Unintended consequences could be very good for the Hornets. But to answer your question, Nurkic brings that outside shooting element to Charlotte, which we really have not experienced yet. And he's a great example for Mark Williams. We were talking about it before when we went on the air. Some of these older guys in the league, people who have a decade or more of service, they can teach so many lessons to young teams. And Charlotte still is at its core a young team. So Nurkic, his payoff is going to be on and off the court.
Yeah, you mentioned it. The Mark Williams thing was so interesting because it seemed for sure he was going to the Lakers, and honestly thought they might take him regardless of what the physical came out to be, but they rescinded it. So you get him back.
I mean, you guys have been have you ever seen an NBA player that could pass a physical if you didn't want him to?
Right, exactly.
Every single one of them is, I mean.
And with their desperation to get a big man on top of it, right? So, but you said Mark Williams well received coming back. What was it like? Have you had a chance to talk to Mark about his thoughts coming back? Because he was heading to the Lakers. It was going to be with LeBron and Luka.
Well, it's definitely been a roller coaster of emotions, but I don't think there is anything negative lingering from Charlotte. Charlotte, like I said, got a Godfather offer for him. And I mean, when you get that kind of catalog of picks and players, it's hard to turn down for anyone but, very select guys that it might take even more. So, with Mark, I think that, he came back to a locker room that really loved and appreciated him and is excited to work with him. And as you guys well know, front offices will make decisions. Locker rooms tend to be pretty tight. It's very rare for a locker room to splinter, even preceding or after a trade. So they were very excited to see him, embraced him right away, and he seems genuinely happy for the opportunity he still has here in Charlotte.
I want to ask you about the head of the snake, Mr. Ball, LaMelo Ball. Love the guy's game, flashy as hell, but is he the guy that's going to galvanize all these other guys together and make this team make a run?
Yes, I think so. I think still for him, for the team, the main issue is availability. And that's the first ability that you look to. And he needs to, further equip himself for the grind that is an 82-game season, clearly, because, he is going to be short of the number of games needed to be All-NBA and so on and so forth. But when he's out there on the floor, he is legitimately one of the top 5 to 10 scorers in the NBA. It was a shocker he didn't make the All-Star game, not just because the fans wanted him, but because the stats back it up. There's only 5 guys in the NBA averaging 27 points per game, and he's one of them. His three-point shooting ability, his creativity, his burst of speed, his touch on the mid-range, on floaters, he is exceptional at what he does. And I think as he gets the full complement of players around him more often, we'll see him further tap in to his playmaking abilities. Right. He has court vision like none other in the NBA. So he's the full package. It's about getting him and his running mates on the floor simultaneously, something sadly in Charlotte we did not see very much this year.
And I will say this. We know about
being, we get it.
We get it.
Yes. Charlotte and Sacramento seem to suffer from the same syndrome.
It's tough. It's tough. Availability is the first ability. And, I think for Charlotte, the blessing of it all is that you've got your all-star in LaMelo Ball. There's a strong belief a second one is
and what I'm saying, lack of getting an all-star. It's a bonus here in Sacramento, right?
Totally get it. Sorry.
No,
now I'm
good.
picking up what you're throwing
it's all
at.
good.
Yes.
It's all good. But catch us up on the injury front, if you could. Yeah.
Well, and Sabonis should have been an all-star. There's no question about it as the league leader in rebounds. And certainly with some of the makeup spots, I think a lot of people mentioned, hey, Norman Powell could have made the all-star team had LeBron given up the spot earlier, and credit to him for trying to play and trying to get through it. But yes, that spot could have come to someone else. I would have thought Sabonis to be first on the list, but that's just me. I think on the injury front for Charlotte, LaMelo is the number one guy. He's the all-star, but Brandon Miller's got a good chance to be one as well. He sadly had a torn ligament in his wrist. He's done for the year, and who knows what draft luck is going to bring. But for a franchise, it's all about getting those stars. Once you get them aligned, you got a chance. And Sacramento right now has a chance. They got 3 all-star level players on their roster. Charlotte has at minimum 1 and hopefully more.
No doubt. All right. We all know that Dell and Steph Curry are the greatest father-son combination to ever play in the NBA. Now Seth is on the team, so you can make a case Dell and Seth right now got this thing going. What's it like being around the Currys?
Oh, they're tremendous, just tremendous. And getting to watch Seth and how he operates, his workman-like attitude, something going for him right now. He has the best three-point percentage for a full individual season of any Curry in Charlotte history going right now. That's something better than Dell.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big accomplishment. It's the greatest shooting family in the history of the game, and that is the number one skill in basketball. So for all those college coaches all those years ago that not only passed on Steph, which now seems unbelievable, but then after watching that to once again pass on Seth, it just boggles the mind. But these two have been incredible players, incredible role models for their community and their Queen City royalty.
No doubt. And they probably have a jump in the river bet on if Seth can break the record as well, too. They'll make that up in Tahoe later on. All right, Sam, before we let you go, you were telling us off air you had a funny call with Taj Gibson recently getting a double-double, ninth oldest player to ever get a double-double, right?
Yeah.
In NBA history. So I'm interested to know that list. How many of those do you remember?
Oh, my gosh. Well, Michael Jordan's one of them.
Okay.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
Karl Malone.
Yeah.
Robert Parrish, the Chief.
Yes.
He's on the list. Oh,
LeBron
man.
up there?
LeBron's up on the list, too. Oh, gosh, I'm starting to run out of steam. Dikembe Mutombo, oldest ever to do
bless
it.
his soul.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the great things about doing this job, and it's why we pour so much time and effort into it. It's because no matter what the score is, no matter what the records are going into the game, you never know what you're going to witness. So here tonight, we've got a 14-41 Charlotte Hornets team that's been on the road seemingly forever. They're tired, they're beat up, and yet we might see a miracle after midnight part 3 from the Queen City perspective, or the game could get out of hand. This could be, a 30, 40-point game in one direction or the other, and we might see some guy off the bench, some player who hasn't had his moment yet, have his moment, have a career high, have something special, or in the case of Taj Gibson, it was garbage time now 3 weeks ago, but he got in there, posted the double-double, and the whole team is going nuts for him, even though they're down by 20 and they know the game's lost, because that's what makes sports special, that ability to captivate the imagination no matter what the circumstances are going into the game or throughout it.
And all the younger hoopers were Taj who?
So there's too many kids that don't know Taj Gibson. Taj Gibson, Pac-10 legend. Speaking of conferences,
USC grad, fellow USC grad.
Amen. Fight on.
Absolutely, like the
Pride
bar
of the
here.
Big Ten now.
Yeah,
soon
that's right.
Soon enough, we're going to be in the Bundesliga. It's going to be great.
Exactly. Sam, always great to catch up with you. So happy for your success and your happiness in Charlotte.
Thank you very much, guys. It's great to be with both of you guys. And if I don't see you next season, we'll see you in the NBA Finals, or strike that reverse.
We'll plan that. Yeah, trip to the Queen City. Absolutely, I love it. I'm trying to get back to Pinehurst sometime. So if I ever make it there, I know we've got the what major is there coming up? It's the PGA, I believe.
Think is the U.S. Open at?
Is it the Open this year? It's the PGA or the U.S. Open. So maybe I'll be calling you back up later.
There we
go.
We'll
see about that. All right, that's Sam Farber, great voice of the Charlotte Hornets. We'll take the break, come back. We'll get you back to the injury report and get you ready for the Kings in Charlotte here. It's game night, Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out sacktownsports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on sacktownsports.com.
Henry Turner here. Craving something extraordinary? Go visit my friends at Howard Gumbo, a family recipe straight from New Orleans. Their gumbo is packed with all kinds of seafood and drowned in their famous roux. They even have Southern-style catfish and red beans. Check out the $5 gumbo and specials on the weekends. It's so good, you'll be back for more. Catering available. Open Thursday and Friday, 11 to 8, and Saturday and Sunday, 2 to 8. They're located at 2120 Marconi Avenue in Sacramento. Tell them the High Flyer sent you.
You've heard the saying, penny wise, pound foolish, right? It means you do something that will save you a little bit right now, just pennies, but that ends up costing you pounds in the end.
People put off tuning up their furnace because they don't want to take the time or spend the money to get it done.
But it only takes 90 minutes and costs just $87, which is just pennies compared to the huge problems and expenses that can rack up if you don't get your furnace tuned up.
You'll also save money on your energy bills, and your system will last longer.
So don't be penny wise and pound foolish. Call Bell Brothers for a precision tune-up and professional cleaning today.
Our number is 916-444-1234, or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Welcome back in the game night right here, Sacktown Sports 1140. Our thanks to Sam Farber, voice of the Hornets, joining us in the last segment. We're going to have our injury report coming up in just a second here. But first, of course, got to let you know that game night being brought to you by our good friends at Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. Check out their full line of luxury vehicles at mbofstockton.com. All right, it is time for our Gingery and Hammer Associates injury report. Again, remember, if you're ever in an injury, just call Gingery. And with the report, we go back to our man at the Sacktown Sports Studios, the man on the controls tonight. Anthony, take it away.
All right, so for tonight, for the Charlotte Hornets, Daquan Jeffries is out with left knee soreness. Trey Mann is out with a disc herniation. Brandon Miller is out with a ligament repair in his right wrist. Josh Okogie is out with a left hamstring sprain. Grant Williams is out.
Who is playing tonight, Anthony?
There's, it might be easier. It really might be. Grant Williams is out with an ACL repair, and Mark Williams is out with left foot injury management. And for the Kings, there's no one on there.
That's the thing. The Kings are healthy, so we always say the best ability is availability. Hopefully that'll show up tonight, High Flyer. I am disappointed Mark Williams isn't playing. I really did want to see him tonight, considering all that went down with that trade and everything else. I'm interested to see that man's talent.
Me too, because, he was definitely one of the guys that the Lakers really thought that they were going to get a chance to get their hands on him, and they wanted him big time.
Yep, no doubt. All right, we heard the Gingery injury list right there. It's extensive for Charlotte. They come in on Saturday, a wounded animal after getting throttled up in Portland by 53. But having said all of that, it's kind of meaningless right now.
But you know what, though, Scott? They have all the makings of a team that will fold it up quick. Mm-hmm. If the Kings come out and hit them hard, because for one, they just lost by a record number 50 plus.
Yep.
2, they're beaten up. They don't have all their guys. And 3, they've been on the road forever.
Yeah.
This is
a perfect
storm.
It is
for the Kings to come out, take care of business, and get these guys down early and cruise to a victory.
It is. That's the way it should go.
Yes.
But we've seen so many times where things that should go don't go that way. And Doug making the point tonight, we've had 2 great days of practice. I feel good and feel like we're ready to go. But the NBA never can surprise me about what may or may not happen. Right?
No, yeah.
There's always a wrinkle.
Hey, I understand it. I said it early in the broadcast. When you think then you see a game and you're like, well, that's not it.
Yeah. All right. Again, we have not received official starting lineups. We'll have that by Kings Live pregame. Jason and Henry will go over that. But the speculation is at least that Keon Ellis may start tonight. Doug Christie didn't confirm that.
Nor deny it.
Video script, but he did not deny it either, which to me, and again, speculation, but if Keon wasn't starting, I think he would have said, I'm sticking with my starting 5. So I might be reading into it, but I'm thinking there's a really good chance that Keon could start tonight. And again, we've been throwing it around. If Keon does start, who's not starting tonight?
Right. That's the bigger question. That is the bigger question. Who's going to come off the bench? And Scott, more so, let's keep it 100.
Yeah.
Who's going to accept that role of coming off the bench?
Right. That's a big question.
That's more so important than anything else. That's even more important than, is Keon starting?
Yeah, it is.
Who's going to accept coming off the bench and saying, okay, I'm cool with this role?
Yeah, we know Doug had the big conversation with the starters after the game on Friday night. They've had a couple of practices. I don't know. You're suggesting it might be Keegan, which would be, to me, the most interesting of anybody who may not be.
I'm just looking at the pedigree out there. Malik Monk has been playing his best basketball since you put him in the starting lineup.
Yep.
All right. You have a 2-time All-Star.
Yep.
Zach LaVine.
Yep.
You got a 6-time All-Star in DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, who's been carrying the team.
Right. And you got an MVP candidate in Domantas Sabonis.
Yep.
So now you got a guy that plays the 4 that's struggling a little bit, really haven't found his way.
Yep.
That's why I'm leaning more towards Keegan than anybody else.
Yeah. I think if you were taking egos aside and just kind of looking at how things have been played so far, to me, Zach LaVine would be the guy because he just hasn't fit in yet. Maybe if he came off the bench, it might look different. But I'm not saying that's what I think is going to happen.
But let me tell you how that's going to look as a public type thing.
Yep.
It's going to look like this. you traded a once-in-a-lifetime generational player for a guy that you're going to bring off the bench.
Yeah, it's a bad look.
Yeah, it's a bad look. So that's why I don't think that one's going to happen.
Yeah, and I was just saying, if you took everything else aside just from the play itself.
Right. No,
but you can't do that, of course.
But you can't take that
of course
to the
not.
side.
No, you can't.
Right.
This isn't fantasy land.
Hey.
This is the NBA. I get that. I get that. All right. Having said all that, regardless of who does start or doesn't start tonight for the Kings, you're saying quick start is a must tonight.
I'm saying, number one, turnovers got to be cut down.
Yeah.
That was the number one thing. And Scott, I was so surprised that nobody in that meeting said anything about the turnovers. Right. The turnovers was the big part of why the Sacramento Kings lost that game.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. And the points off those turnovers.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. They got throttled by Golden State Friday night in transition and all those turnovers and everything else. There's no doubt about that. All right, other things you're looking for tonight.
I want to see this team bounce back. I want to see this team start having fun out there. I want to see the body language change. I mean, the body language has been down since that New Orleans game. So want to see these guys get back to having fun, laughing, and playing good basketball.
Yeah, and let's hope that's the case. I mean, Doug Christie always talks about playing with joy.
Right.
It's tough when you're not winning to have that joy.
It is. But I'll tell you what, if you don't have joy playing, it's hard to win.
Yeah.
It's hard to win. So, it's kind of like the yin and the yang. You got to have one to have the other.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They're not two mutually exclusive things. One does kind of lead to the other. The other thing that you've been championing, and we'll see if it comes to fruition tonight, because Charlotte has a bigger lineup, if we'll see more of Jonas Valanciunas tonight.
Don't care about seeing more of him, Scott.
Yeah.
I care about utilizing him.
Yeah.
When he's in the game more. Valanciunas is not Alex Lynn. This dude can score the basketball. He can be a threat in the low post. And I really think he can kill anybody's second-tier center.
Yeah.
So when he's in the game, run some plays to get that boy this ball down low to where he can score.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a very skilled offensive threat. And we'll see if that's something that get utilized a little bit more. And I'm curious also. I'm curious to see if Markelle Fultz's minutes get increased based on what we saw Friday night. It's a tough proposition because the Kings are heavy in the backcourt.
Right. I really felt like the guy came in and had a high energy. One of those guys that motor is very high, played at a high level. So I'm with you. Let's see if he's going to be one of those guys that get a little bit more run.
Yeah, it was great. Walking into the arena on Friday, I just happened to walk in with Markelle Fultz's brother, Jordan, who had just flown in. And I was talking with him, and, he had told me Markelle is fully healthy. He's fully excited to be here and looking at this as an opportunity to get his NBA career back and going. And you always like to hear when somebody's got something to prove.
Oh, no doubt. And especially a guy that wants to come in and change the narrative. Be another energy guy off the bench.
Yeah, no doubt. And, this guy was a number one pick in the draft. There's a lot of pride that goes along with that.
Oh, yeah. Not just pride. He had to have some type of talent to be an overall consensus number one.
No doubt. The thought was they could make the trade to move up to get Markelle Fultz, and that's with Jason Tatum going number 3 in that draft.
Right. So, he should be able to come here and give the Sacramento Kings something.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, obviously the Kings know what the objective is here tonight. They've got to get a W against a Hornets team that's just 14-41. No excuses tonight. They got to find a way to get the W against a depleted Charlotte team before heading out on the road. It'll be Utah on Wednesday, and then, of course, you have Houston on Saturday to finish out this week. All right, Henry, that's going to do it for game night. As always, great to work with you.
Yes, sir.
Have a great call tonight.
All right, bro.
All right, that does it for game night. Coming up next, we will have Kings Live pregame. Jason Ross will have that. Stay tuned for that. They'll have the starters for the game. So will Keon Ellis get the start tonight, or will he be coming off the bench? I think that's the most interesting question for the Kings tonight. And how will that affect everything going on with this Kings team? They were rocked on Friday night, lost to a good Golden State team. We understand that, but it was the way in which they lost, and obviously being at home And when you lose to your rival, the Warriors, it always hurts more, and especially the way they did that. So hopefully the Kings will come out with a little more pride tonight and get this thing done against the Hornets. We appreciate you listening to Game Night. It's brought to you by Power Business Technology. Experience for yourself how the Power family can help you with all your business equipment needs. Give them a call, 1-844-POWER-BZ, or go to powercopiers.com. Stay tuned. Kings basketball coming your way all night long right here. Sacktown Sports, 1140.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Can he do it? Yes!